Hello, word nerds, and welcome to the dictionary. My name is Spencer. Okay, the first word, we're getting right into it. The first word in this episode is figure 8, 2 words. Noun from 1748. This is something resembling the Arabic numeral 8, the number 8, and it resembles it in form or shape as the subdefinition, a small knot, K-N-O-T. Go see the knot illustration in the K's. There's a figure 8 knot. How do you make that one? Is this book going to teach us how to make all the knots? No, that's not what it's here for. It's just going to show us the knots, all the different shapes of all the different knots, all of them. If you want to learn knots, go get a knot book. And maybe also go watch some videos on YouTube, because that's how things are going today. B, an embroidery stitch. There's a specific kind of embroidery stitch where you make a figure 8 for some reason. Is it to create a certain shape, to have the embroidery look a certain way? Probably. I've never done it. Number C, a dance pattern. What do you step over there, and then step over there, and then step over there, and step back, and then over there, and then down, and then across, and then back. So you made a figure 8. Number D, a skater's figure. Sometimes they can just go in a figure 8 because it's so smooth on the ice. Zhoo, zhoo. I think they mentioned a figure 8 / infinity symbol / figure skater making that thing in a They Might Be Giants song. Is it called figure 8? I think it might be. Maybe I'll put a link in the show notes so you can go to. It's on one of their kids' albums. This is called also figure of 8. Figure of 8. I guess it just got shortened. Back in the olden days, they would say figure of 8. It is a figure of 8, a shape, a form, a thing. Okay, sound effect time. We're going to go zzz. Now we have figurehead, one word, noun from 1765. Number 1, the figure on a ship's bow, and that's that. The figure on so the front of a ship, I think, is the figurehead. Maybe I should post a picture on social media at Dictionary Pod for a figurehead. But the thing is, a lot of them are topless or naked women, because back in the olden days, I guess maybe still to this day, it's usually stereotypically genderized men on a boat, and they don't get to see the women which they like, and so they were like, well, how can we get a nude woman on the boat? Let's put it on the front of the boat where we can't even see it. But I'm sure there's some other interesting figureheads out there. Number 2, a head or chief in name only. You are running the company, you are running the government, you are running this situation, but only in name. You're not really. There's other people who are running. Right now, maybe Trump is a bit of a figurehead and Musk is the real guy. That situation is getting so weird. I don't know how I feel about it. It's like, he's doing some not good things, but he's doing some good. I don't know. I don't get it. Zzz. Now we have figure in, 2 words. Transitive verb from circa 1934. To include, especially in a reckoning. A reckoning? This is not a car reckoning. This one starts with an R. To include, especially in a reckoning, figure in. What sort of reckoning is this? You're dealing. I'm trying to think of like another way to word that word, reckoning. You're figuring some stuff out. You're trying to reckon the situation, and you have to figure in some things. You have to include them. I mean, that's pretty obvious. That's pretty clear. But what's a reckoning here? Now we have figure of merit, 3 words. It's from circa 1865. This is a numerical quantity based on one or more characteristics of a system or device that represents a measure of efficiency or effectiveness. What did that say? A numerical quantity. Okay, so there's a number. It's a number. The figure of merit is a number based on one or more characteristics of a system or device that represents a measure of efficiency or effectiveness. I think they're basically just turning the effectiveness or the efficiency of a thing, a system, a device, a situation, a group, a whatever, a job, and they're turning that into a number, and that number is the figure of merit. Like, if you are trying to get a raise or a promotion, you might have to show, based on the numbers, your figure of merit. Well, that guy sold 3 reams of paper, but I sold 7 reams of paper, and so my figure of merit is more, and so I should get a raise of $1 per ream of paper. Is something like that. Zoop. Now we have figure of speech, 3 words. It's from 1751. Oh, it's one long definition. A form of expression as a simile or metaphor used to convey meaning or heighten effect, often by comparing or identifying one thing with another that has a meaning or connotation familiar to the reader or listener. A simile, a metaphor, those are figures of speech. Oh, it's just a figure of speech. Oh, I'm just saying this thing because I'm comparing one thing to another thing just to, you might be more familiar with the one thing. What are some other examples? Used to convey meaning or heighten effect. Yes, heighten effect. We're making our phrase more interesting, more effective when we use this figure of speech. It's more falutant, more fancy-free, comparing or identifying one thing with another that has a meaning or connotation familiar to the reader or listener. Maybe the one thing they're not as familiar with, and so we have to compare it to something else. Let's just quickly look up figures. Oh my God, letters are hard. Figures of speech examples. Yes, that's what I would like. Similes, hyperboles, synecdoches, irony, understatement, metaphor, personification, metonymy, sarcasm, alliteration, assonance, onomatopoeia, puns, euphemism, paradoxes, epistrophe, apostrophe, litotes or litotes, anaphora, and oxymorons, which are like paradoxes, but I think one of them is like in poetry and the other was, I don't know. Yeah, we should put this link of 20 figures of speech. We should put this link into the show notes because it goes through all these examples. It says what it is, and there's an example. Let's just pick a random one. We're scrolling, and we're going to land on this one. Oh, I've never heard of this. Pleonasm. Pleonasm. Pleonasm is the use of more words than necessary to convey meaning. People back in the day used to do this all the time. They would use many, many words unnecessarily. We are now at a time where we're shrinking everything, and it's gotten so shrunken, we're using so few words that I'm like, wait, what are we talking about? A writer might use pleonasm for humor or emphasis, or they might not realize they're using extra words at all. And here's an example. The burning fire warmed the whole house. You could just say, the fire warmed the house. Then you know the house, it's assumed that it's the whole house. And the fire, we know that fires are burning, so you don't need to use that word, but you can if you want to. The burning fire warmed the whole house. Okay, that was great. Those are all figures of speech, and now I learned something a little bit more. Figure out, 2 words. Transitive verb from 1600. Number 1, the synonyms are discover and determine. As in the example, try to figure out a way to do it. Why don't you try to figure out a way to do it? Why don't you not ask me how to do it, but see if you can figure out how to do it? See if you can discover the method. Determine the best way for you because you're smart. And this situation is not as hard as you think it is. Go ahead, figure it out. Number 2, the synonyms are solve and fathom, as in figure out a problem. Isn't that pretty similar to the previous one? You could say discover a problem. No, discover a problem doesn't work. Determine a problem. No, that doesn't work. Nope, these are not the same. Try to discover a way to do it, but and then the other example is solve a problem. They seem similar, but they're not because they're different in the way that you use them in the sentence. Try to solve a way to do it. See, that one kind of works. Try to fathom a way to do it. Interesting. Similar but different. But yeah, the basic premise is you're figuring it out. How do you put that in another way other than these synonyms? You're doing the work to learn something, to process something, to discover something. Okay, that's enough of that one. Figure skating, 2 words. My sister was a figure skater for many years. I was a figure skater for only a few years because I was young and not good. And I guess I wasn't that interested in it. I didn't want to pursue it past, 6 years old or something? Figure skating. Noun from 1852. Skating characterized by the performance of various jumps, spins, and dance movements, and formerly by the tracing of prescribed figures. Oh, that's where it comes from? What? Formerly, described formerly by the tracing of prescribed figures. So, were early skaters, figure skaters, were they meant to just trace shapes, trace figures with their skates on the ice? And that's what they did? Who could trace a figure 8 better on their skates? And what sort of shapes were these? I think I need to put a link in the show notes for this because I've never heard of this before because I did not study the history of figure skating. And so I'm very fascinated by this. And then eventually someone was like, sorry, I don't want to do those shapes. I would like to do jumps and spins. I want to make my own figures with my body. It's not that I am a body skating. It's that they would make figures with their skates. Figure skater is a noun. I think if my sister were interested, she could have gone very far in her skating world. Maybe not Olympics. I don't think she would say that she was Olympic level, but she was very good and very graceful. And they put on in our local skating rink. They put on the Nutcracker every year during the holiday time, and she was in that many years, including the lead character Clara, I think, and also Drosselmeyer another year. So she was doing real good, and I don't know, was she younger than most people? I don't know, but she was very good, and we were always very impressed with her skating abilities and always cheered her on and everything. And she was very graceful, and I was not. In fact, there's a very silly video of me at the end of one of the shows. You know, everybody comes out to do their bows, and my parents are filming, of course, and I come up to the window to wave, and then I fall down. And then I try and get up, and I fall down again. And I try and get up, and I fall down again. I was okay, but not great. Okay, let's move on to figurine. Figure with an I-N-E at the end. We put an I-N before the last E. That's what happened here. Noun from 1854, a small carved or molded figure. The synonym is statuette. It's a statue, but it's little, so it's a statuette. Statuette. Small, carved, or molded. That's it. It's a figurine. Where's the word come from? It comes from the word figure. Figura, Italian figura. And that's pretty much it for that one. I used to have a lot of tiny little figurines. You know, when I was young, I liked the miniature stuff. I just thought it was cool, I guess. I don't know. Interesting. Cute. Animals. I loved animals. Still love animals. So there was a lot of little mini animals. Any other things about figurines? Any other things about figurines? I don't think so. So let's move on to zzz. Ooh, fig wasp. 2 words. Noun from 1883. A minute wasp. That means it's tiny. It's like a figurine of a wasp. A minute wasp that breeds in the capra fig and is the agent of caprification. Broadly, any wasp of the same family. And the family name is Agaontidae. Agaontidae? And the species name is Blastophaga. How do you say this word? Psenes. Psenes? I don't know. So I want to go back to, what is this word, caprifig? I do vaguely remember having a little conversation about caprifig and the wasps and something. So I feel like there's like, when you eat figs, are you eating wasps? But there's something about their bodies in the fig, and I can't remember what it was. So I think we need to put, there's a capybara. I think we need to put a link in the show notes for all that stuff again. And let's read what the capra fig is, because I can't remember. A wild fig. A wild fig of southern Europe and southwestern Asia used for caprification of the cultivated fig. But what's caprification? Caprification is artificial pollination of figs that usually bear only pistillate flowers by hanging male flowering branches of the capra fig in the trees to facilitate pollen transfer by a fig wasp. So the fig wasps are helping to pollinate the capra fig. It's a kind of fig. Okay, interesting. Well, we're not going to dig. What happened to my pages over here? We're not going to dig into that. Why does this not go flat? Papers, go flat. Okay, next is zzz. I just assume that that's the sound of the fig wasp. Next is figwort or figwort. 1 word, Figwort. Noun from 1548. Any of a genus of chiefly herbaceous, often fetid plants of the snapdragon family with terminal cymes, C-Y-M-E-S, terminal cymes of small purple, yellow, or greenish flowers. Those are the figworts. Figworts or figworts. The genus name is Scrofularia. Scrofularia. That sounds like not a band name. I mean, it could be, but it also sounds like the name of an album. Scrofularia. Hee hee. And all of the songs are about snapdragons. Snapdragon pops. Figwort. I think we should post a picture on the social media of a fig wasp, and then maybe of also a figwort. It does not say where this name comes from. That's very sad. I don't know why they call it figwort or figwort. Next we have Fijian or Fijian, spelled capital F-I-J-I-A-N. Noun from 1809. Number 1, a member of a Melanesian people of Fiji. Okay, that makes sense. The Fiji people are Fijian, but is it all the Fiji people? Or is it only certain types of Fiji people who are Fijian? Is it just the Melanesian people of Fiji? Or are all of the people of Fiji, the native people of Fiji, are they all Melanesian people? And where does this word Melanesian come from? What's that? Are they not the Fiji people? Maybe Melanesian is a word from their own language? That would be good. Makes sense. I don't know. Number 2, the Austronesian language of the Fijians is Fijian. They speak Fijian in Fiji, which I guess makes sense. And I'm now very curious about where is Fiji from their own language or not? That's something that it gets very confusing with a lot of these country names and people names and language names. Is that from their own language, or is this like an Americanized version of it, or is it a word that we made up for them but they call themselves something completely different? I don't know unless I dig into it. Let's see. Anything? Yeah, because there's no etymology. It doesn't say. Come on, say. Fijian is also an adjective. Zoop. Now we have filament. Filament, noun, from 1594. We have a few definitions here. It's all sub-definitions, because the main definition is a single thread or a thin, flexible thread-like object, process, or appendage. As A. Sub-definition number 1 is lettered A. A tenuous conductor of carbon or metal made incandescent by the passage of an electric current, but specifically, a cathode in the form of a metal wire in an electron tube. So this version of filament, we're dealing with electricity. I believe those old school, what's the term? The old school light bulbs, they had filaments in them. A tenuous conductor incandescent bulbs, that's what it is. Made incandescent by the passage of an electric current. So the filament inside of the bulb is the thing that glows, becomes incandescent. And so when it's connected to electricity is when it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna glow now. It's time to glow. This is the filament glowing. What is it's made out of? Where is it? Metal or carbon? I guess usually, always, something. But specifically a cathode in the form of metal wire in an electron tube. Yeah, you look at it and it's like a metal wire that comes up and then it like spins around. It like does a curlicue and then it goes back down so it can finish the circuit. And then it's surrounded by the glass, which it's like a lens. It will spread the light, make the light soft, or spread it around the room. Okay, that was the first one for filament. Now we have B1, which is a thin and fine, elongated constituent part of a gill. Is this a fish gill? Probably. So I guess sometimes in their gills, they have little skinny things, thread-like things. B2, an elongated thin series of cells attached one to another, or a very, very long, thin, cylindrical single cell. Examples are some algae, fungi, or bacteria. So some of them are just a single cell that's long, cylindrical and long, so then it's a filament because it's about a long, skinny thing. Or it's a series of cells attached to each other, butt to face, butt to face, butt to face, butt to face. I guess. Now we have C. The anther-bearing stalk of a stamen, and it says to go see the flower illustration, which, that's coming up in not very long from now, if you are so interested. This will be airing on, the flower illustration will be airing on April 14th, 2025. So if that episode already exists and you super want to hear me talk about that, you can jump ahead to that episode. Oh, and I also can tell you even what episode number it is. That would be even easier. Episode F141. Okie dokie. So now that was that one. Now we have filamentary is an adjective, and filamentous is also an adjective. Does this have etymology? Let's see. It seems like it should. It seems like a word that seems interesting enough, different enough to have etymology. What does it say? From the lower Latin filare, which means to spin. And there's more at the word file, F-I-L-E, which will be in the next episode. I guess we should wait until we talk about the file etymology, but the spinning and filament, that one is interesting and odd and strange and weird to me. Okay, that was filament. Bzz. Now we have filar, F-I-L-A-R, adjective from circa 1859, of or relating to a thread or line, especially having threads across the field of view. One example is a filar eyepiece. A filar eyepiece has threads across the field of view. What are these threads? Of relating to a thread or line. I don't understand what a filar eyepiece is because I don't know what sorts of lines these are. Let's look up a just filar eyepiece, I guess. There's a filar micrometer, but I want to know what are the threads, the lines. All right, let's just put this link in the show notes for Filar Micrometer and see if that gives us any interesting information. Blah, 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 blah. Bzz, 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 bzz. Now we have filaria. Filaria. Noun from 1833. Any of numerous slender filamentous nematodes that as adults are parasites in the blood or tissues of mammals, like humans, and as larvae, usually develop in biting insects. So when they're young, I feel like they should have switched those arounds. Arounds. When they're larvae, when they're young, they develop in biting insects. So I guess did they get into the biting insect and they grow up in that insect and then they come out of that insect as an adult and then they go into the mammals? They develop in biting insects. The way that it's worded, that's the only way that I can think of it, but I'm sure maybe there's something else. Filaria. Okay, well, you should stay away from these filaria. Example, let's see. There is a nematode called filaria, and also there's related genera, just more of those genuses, genera that are related to filaria. Or I guess maybe filaria is the genus name of these nematodes. Oh wait, they are parasites as adults. So they're not considered a parasite, they're considered a nematode. Numerous slender filamentous nematodes. So does that mean that they're long and skinny? Let's look at the etymology to see if it tells us. Well, first we have to say filarial is an adjective and filariid, I think, is an adjective or a noun. It's just from the genus name. I assume that the genus name comes from filamentous. They are filamentous. Should we look up a picture of one of these filaria to see if they are long and skinny? I suspect they are. Where are the keys? Here we go. Filaria. Filaria. Oh, there's also filariasis. That seems like a problem. Oh, boy. Oh, yes. It looks like a wormy worm kind of thing. These are lots of pictures I don't want to see. Let's back out of that one. No, thank you. Oh, yes, actually, filariasis. That's going to be in the next episode. Okay. Oh, and I forgot to say, I missed it. That was the last word. Filaria. Filaria. That's the last word for this episode. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Okay, so now, of course, now is the time that we have to pick a word of the episode. Hoo-wee! Today we had figure eight, figurehead, figure in, figure of merit, figure of speech, figure out, figure skating, figurine, fig wasp, figwort, Fijian, filament, filar, and filaria. Let's see. I think, well, it's either figure skating or figure of speech. I guess if I had my sister on this episode, she might have picked figure skating as the word of the episode. Possibly, maybe, who knows? But I think I would like to pick figure of speech as the word of the episode because I think it is it's fun ways to use language. You know, there's all these examples, and if I had time, I could like sort these into maybe some sort of rhyming thing. Figures of speech include epistrophe. They also include apostrophe, and also sarcasm, irony, simile, metaphor, and a bunch of other stuff that not sure if they rhyme. I'm trying to look to see if there's any more rhymes. It's okay. Figure of speech is the word of the episode. I should tell you about a movie or two that I watched because that's just how we do things. Okay, now I should have brought up my list beforehand. We watched, we went to the Music Box again this year and watched It's a Wonderful Life in Chicago. It's just very fun. Now we've done it 2 times, and while it's fun, it's like, okay, I get it. It's cool to see it on the big screen with a bunch of people, but I'm like, yeah, cool. People are jingling, jangling when there's angel stuff, and then they're hissing when there's capitalism stuff, and I really appreciate that. And but next year, maybe we'll see White Christmas, which is a fun movie. I saw it once, but I like It's a Wonderful Life better. That's my own personal opinion. Oh, and then I have to mention the movie Flow. What to say about Flow? Flow it's animated. It was all done with a free program called, it starts with a U. I can't think of it in the moment. I know it. In fact, I think I have the program. Maybe I should type, where's the what is it called? I want to know so bad I could look it up, but I won't. Well, anyway, it's about a group of animals that come together to help each other. There's no talking because they're animals, but they communicate very clearly, very obviously. They communicate with their sounds, with their actions. And there's nothing human, there's nothing fantastical. You know, they're just like relatively simple 3D models of animals that they used, and everything they do is very realistic to what that animal does. There's a cat and a dog and a capybara and a big bird. That big bird might be fantastical. It might be, I don't know if it's based on a real bird, but doesn't matter. There's a monkey, a lemur. Maybe it's a lemur. I don't remember. And is there another one or two? I can't remember. But it's a beautiful film of different types of beings coming together to help each other out. And it's just, I can't even, I really want to see it again. I can't even process right now. And, you know, there's more to it that I don't want to say. I don't want to, give anything away. But, it's a good one. It's a good one. And I probably cried at some point. I probably teared up because it's getting a little bit easier for me to do that as I get older. Okay, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for checking out this show. And until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye. Zoo.